Today, we're going to unpack a really fascinating idea for how an immigrant community can completely redefine its purpose, especially in a secular society. It's the story of a call to transform, to go from being a self-protective fortress to becoming a guiding lighthouse. And it's all based on the ideas in a pretty compelling doctoral dissertation.
So, our story kicks off with this major paradox. It's like a tale of two completely different Londons, both existing in the exact same place. On one side, you've got the incredible spiritual passion of the Korean diaspora church, and on the other, you have the deeply post-Christian landscape of London itself.
And this slide, well, it just perfectly captures that tension, doesn't it? On the left, you've got this fervent worship, this really powerful spiritual life happening inside the community. But literally right outside the front door, on the secular streets, faith has been pushed way, way out to the margins. You have these two worlds, side by side, but they are almost totally disconnected.
And that leads us right to the big question that drives this whole study. How does a community on the edge bridge that huge gap? How do you take a message that feels so alive and so important on the inside and make it matter to the center of a society that's basically forgotten it?
Okay, so to really get the challenge here, we have to look at the context. We're zooming right into the Korean community in London, specifically an area called New Malden, which for a long time has been this absolutely vital cultural shelter for people.
So get this, as of 2025, there are around 47,000 ethnic Koreans in the UK, and New Malden is pretty much their hub. It's what you'd call a classic ethnic enclave. It's packed with Korean restaurants, supermarkets, churches. And for those first-generation immigrants, this place was a crucial comfort zone, A real psychological shelter in a brand new country.
But, and here's the problem, that healthy shelter that saves space is now facing a kind of crisis. It's in danger of becoming what the dissertation calls a ghetto. Now that's not meant in a negative way, but more in the sense of being totally cut off, of losing its ability to connect with or influence the society all around it.
This really lays out the two paths forward, the big choice. Does the community stay a fortress, inward-looking, self-protective, totally safe but ultimately isolated, or does it choose to become a lighthouse, shining outward, focused on serving others, becoming a guiding light for the culture around it? That is the fundamental choice right there.
So, why did this fortress mentality take hold in the first place? To understand that, we have to diagnose the root cause, and it's actually rooted in a core feature of modern Western society.
Theologian Leslie Newbigin pointed out this kind of split thinking in Western culture, a separation of public facts from private values. So things like science, economics, politics, those are treated like objective facts that apply to everybody. But faith, religion, morality, those get shoved into the private values box. They're treated like a personal preference, kind of like your favorite flavor of ice cream. It's for you, but it's not for everyone.
And this huge social pressure to keep your faith private, well, it has a massive effect. It basically encourages the church to treat the gospel like a personal hobby. And that leads to a community that is on fire on Sunday, but whose faith becomes pretty much invisible from Monday to Saturday. And that, right there, is what built the walls of the fortress.
But this diagnosis is what leads us to a really powerful new vision. And it also comes from that same theologian, Leslie Newbigin.
Newbigin's story is just fascinating. He spent almost 40 years as a missionary in India. But when he finally came back home to Britain in 1974, he was absolutely shocked. He felt it was more of a mission field, he even called it pagan, than the India he had just left. This experience gave him this incredible outsider's perspective on his very own culture.
And that experience sparked this game-changing idea, reverse mission. The dissertation applies this directly to the Korean community, arguing that they aren't in London just by accident or to survive. No, they have been sent with a purpose, sent to what Newbigin called the most difficult mission field of our time, the heart of a de-Christianized Britain.
So, if this is the new mission, what are the tools for the job? What unique assets does this bicultural community have that they can actually use to carry this whole thing out?
The argument here is that the bicultural experience itself is the secret weapon. It's reframed as binocular perception. It's like, just as you need two eyes to see in 3D, this community can see British society with two different perspectives at once. The insider's grasp of how it all works and the outsider's critical eye. And that tension, that's not a crisis. It's a powerful gift for seeing the culture's spiritual blind spots.
And this is how you actually live it out, day to day, by adopting this balanced triple identity. First, you're a sojourner, living in the world but not getting totally consumed by its values. Second, you're a prophet, speaking truth on public issues where you see injustice. And third, you're a priest, embracing the city's pain and working for its peace and its well-being.
So how does all this move from being big ideas to actually happening on the streets of London? I mean, what does a lighthouse community really look like in practice?
Well, one really concrete example is adapting a model from the Church of England called Messy Church. It's all about experiencing faith through doing stuff together, activities, celebrations, meals. But when you combine that with Korean culture, something amazing happens. Korean hospitality and K-food become this incredible cultural bridge. It brings the first and second generations together through action, not just through language. And it literally transforms the church from a closed-off space into a public living room for the entire neighborhood.
But it can't just stop there. The mission has to go into every single part of public life. In education, it means connecting faith with learning. In economics, it looks like ethical business practices. In welfare, it means embracing the marginalized. And in civic life, it's about engaging in public issues for the good of everyone. Suddenly, faith becomes a public truth, something you see from Monday all the way through Saturday.
So let's pull all this together. This is the revolutionary shift that's being proposed here. The old identity? That was the immigrant, just focused on survival, seeing being bicultural as a crisis, and keeping faith private. But the new calling is to be a reverse missionary for Britain, using biculturalism as the gift of binocular perception and showing faith as a public truth that's good for all of society.
And at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one final, powerful idea, that immigration wasn't an accident. It wasn't just about getting a better job or a better education. The ultimate takeaway here is the belief that this community was sent with a purpose, to this city for this time. And when you embrace that calling, well, that changes everything.